Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the Dragon.
Welcome back to the Savage FINcast. We're back again. Another week, another issue. I'm Jim Purcell, Savage Dragon fan.
I'm Adam Pruitt. I'm a Savage Dragon Savage Dragon fan, yes.
I'm Craig Olson, also a Savage Dragon fan.
I'm Gavin. I'm obsessed a little bit with Savage Dragon, and it's awesome.
That's an understatement.
and we have a very special episode this week. We have a very special guest. Artist extraordinaire Frank Fosco is with us. Artist of the Vanguard backup, currently running in Savage Dragon, among many other things.
I'm Frank Fosco. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Likewise. I'm excited.
Before we get into our interview with Frank, we've got some Image Savage Dragon news. Craig has some information about the Image Expo.
Yeah, the Image Expo, it's less than 2 weeks away now. It's February 24th through the 26th in Oakland, California. And the news from the Erik front on that is that he'll be on two panels. Saturday, February 25th, he'll be on a panel that's going to discuss the 20 years of Image Comics, and it's kind of going to have all of the original founders from Image, I guess minus Jim Lee on the panel. So that sounds like it'll be pretty interesting. And then the more interesting of the two that I find kind of funny is Sunday, February 26th from 1 to 2. They have something called Portfolio Reviews with Erik Larsen, a.k.a. Larsen Tears You a New One, which is, if people know Erik Larsen and, what's been said about his portfolio reviews, it seems like it would be true. The write-up on that says, Image Comics partner and Savage Dragon creator Erik Larsen will be imparting artistic wisdom via no-holds-barred portfolio reviews for those that have the guts. A random drawing will be done during the workshop to determine which aspiring artists in attendance will be chosen to have the brutal light of truth shine upon their work. Larsen's ready to tell you what he really thinks. Can you handle it? So I think that would be a really fun kind of I don't know though. It's not really a panel. I guess he'll be talking to people individually. I'm not sure how that works. I don't know if you know, Adam.
I'm not sure, but with the thing being, it's like you take a number and then there's a random drawing. It kind of sounds like you're doing the review in front of maybe the rest of the people in the room or whatever, and that wouldn't surprise me because it makes it doubly kind of intimidating.
Yeah, seriously.
And also just not to make it sound like really terrible, but Erik is definitely very honest with his feedback, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I actually think that's the kind of criticism that everybody who wants to be an artist needs.
Yeah, I've sat with Erik when he's done those portfolio reviews, and he pulls no punches. So
yeah,
you gotta have a thick skin and be able to, because Erik says it like it is. So he's pretty straightforward. And if you stink, he's gonna let you know. So
yeah,
that's what I've heard.
Sat right next to him when he's done that. So it's very interesting.
Cool.
At least.
What about you? Do you ever look at people's portfolios and give them your honest opinion?
I'm not as honest as Erik. He's pretty straightforward with what he sees, and he's got a way of presenting telling it like it is, and I've sat right next to him when he's just slammed people, and but then he's encouraged people too. But he's truthful and he's honest about it, and he's not just being
he's not like being
it.
a jerk. Yeah, it's just he's just being frank. I mean, like it's the same thing that we were talking about a little while ago with Dave Johnson's cover blog. You know, he's like It's brutal, but it's only brutal because it's like really honest, and all of the feedback is like, this is what you need to do to become better at what you're trying to do. You know, and like just speaking for myself, like, you know, I grew up, I did a lot of drawing, and I had a lot of art classes in school and stuff like that, and the feedback that was the sugar-coated things wasn't worth anything. Feedback that was really, really worth a lot was always the kind of stuff that, like, you know, really makes you take a hard look and is really, really honest about what you're doing.
So that's it on the Image Expo news. I think there's some Supreme Extreme news.
The first Erik pen issue 63, solicited in this month's previews for February. It's about time it got around. It's what, the last one of the whole Extreme reboot?
Youngblood's after that, I think.
Oh, there's a Youngblood reboot. I forgot about that one.
There's Bloodstrike too. I don't know when that comes out though.
Not just this.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow, they got a whole slate. I didn't realize it was so many books. I thought it was Glory, Supreme, and Prophet.
That's 5, I think.
Yep.
Speaking of Prophet, that was a really, really good issue. Came out the end of last month. That was a good comic.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah,
Yes.
it
really was
really.
good.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
yeah, you're gonna have to read that, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it was just announced too that Glory is already sold out, and that's coming out Wednesday. So it's sold out in the distributor level, and there's already a second printing. So I think it really bodes well for this new Extreme reboot and for Erik's issue of Supreme coming out. You know, I think that's going to be the same thing. It's going to be sold out, you know, day of, and we'll see second printings, maybe hopefully a second Erik Larsen cover or something like that.
Also, just cool to see happening with Glory because it's like the first of those joke-eating books, and how awesome to have like your first book, you know, go immediately to have some success like that. So good on Joe and Ross Campbell and company.
Right.
Definitely.
Definitely.
I'm out of the loop and all this stuff, so I don't know what's going on.
And then Erik posted the cover to 64, Supreme number 64 on Twitter, and I've posted that on dragonfan.net.
That's the one with all the different Supremes, right?
Yeah, the cover kind of looks like the Nova #1 cover that Erik did way back when. It's kind of like, you know, right in your face, like he's flying straight up from the city. And on the Supreme cover, you know, it's Supreme right in your face with like a million different versions of Supreme all around him. It looks pretty neat. Can't wait to see it.
Then we got the cover to Savage Dragon 182 came out too.
Overlord.
Overlord?
Yep.
Yeah,
I see that one.
Overlord. It's Overlord grabbing Angel by the hair, and he's kind of swatting Malcolm away on the cover.
Okay.
And I think 182 is it the first issue after the Invasion storyline? Is that
Second
right?
issue.
Second issue? Okay. Yeah, so it looks like Overlord's going to be taking center stage there, which is pretty cool. Maybe we'll finally find out who's under the mask.
Yeah. I'm very anxious to find that out. That's one particular mystery I've been really, really wondering about for a while.
Well, how many years has it been now since he's kind of come
2?
back? Yeah. Been a while.
About 3, is it?
Oh my.
Roughly.
It was 25 issues ago, wasn't it? Plus.
Okay.
That was 150, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Ethrian back up in that
Yeah,
She
that's
did.
right.
that series right there, yes. So that has been a while ago. Okay.
Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this particular FINcast. Let's talk to Frank Fosco for a bit.
Okay. What do you want to know?
Tell me your
Everything.
secrets. Everything.
Frank, do you want to talk a little bit about how you got started in comics and like what, you know, were you interested in comics as a kid and what was your first like job and first non-paying thing, first paying thing, and how
You're
that
not getting all of this, huh?
Yeah, you can just
Okay.
bend our ears for a couple days here.
Well, I've been drawing ever since I was a kid. My dad used to collect comic books, and I used to see him laying around the house and Fantastic Four comics and stuff like that. And my dad was artistic, and he used to do paintings and stuff and do murals on our walls of these characters. And I got interested in comic books, and big Jack Kirby fan. I don't know if you can tell my stuff, but
Yeah, definitely.
Jack who?
yeah, that guy. So, and as far as I was drawing comics ever since I was 9 years old, and I always wanted to be a comic book artist, and finally got some side work doing some thing for a local music magazine called Triad Magazine. That's where I first put my character Ethrian on that cover. That was back in 1977.
Wow.
Yeah, I go back a little bit. So
That was the year I was born.
well, that's when I was 21.
So was Ethrian something that you created when you were a kid, and then you
yeah, a buddy and I, we created the character. We were influenced by the New Gods type stuff. Ethrian's got that New Gods. Let's see, New Gods, Thor type thing going with it. It was with the capes and stuff like that. So we were very much influenced by Jack Kirby's New Gods, and buddy and I created the character back when we were in high school. I was a freshman, and so that was like 1970, 71.
Mm-hmm.
And
cool.
Yeah, so he goes way back, and
yeah,
he's had so many incarnations of what he was and this or that, and I still don't know what he's about. It's like, it kind of, I see glimpses of things from other comics like Supreme, like all these Ethrians, and then there's all these Supremes, and it's like, man, it's kind of coincidental, or
I'll be honest, I actually have something like that. Ever since I was very young, I've had a very active imagination, and I have various incarnations of various quote-unquote characters that I've made up my entire life that have just evolved into various things. And
True. Yeah.
Erik, I believe that sort of thing happened with him and Dragon. Dragon's gone through a lot of revisions over the years, and it seems to me that it's a fairly common thing with people who are just generally creative throughout their entire lives.
Yeah.
I did when I was doing Ethrian as a kid. There's like otherworldly, different planets, aliens type thing, and then all of a sudden another incarnation was that he was some kind of microverse type thing. I was like, okay, that was silly. So
it's kind of just like whatever you're interested in as you're growing as an artist, and
trying to find its niche to see where this character would fit, and
need a protagonist, just dust them off.
Yeah. So
was Ethrian your first published work?
Yes. Yeah, because when I did the music magazine cover, it was called Triad Magazine, local music magazine in the Chicagoland area. That was the first thing that ever got published, and I did some interior stuff too of the character. And then when Gary Carlson found that magazine, and he's getting ready to do his Megaton book, he tracked me down, and we got together and we did Ethrian for Megaton Comics.
So how'd that work?
Cool.
He just stumbled upon your work and he tracked you down specifically to draw his book?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
that's cool.
That is awesome.
And, and Gary's from the Chicagoland area too.
Right.
At the time, living in Elgin, and so he saw the same citywide magazine, whatever, and that's how Ethrian came to be as far as being a Megaton Comics.
And in Megaton Comics, like a lot of famous artists came out of that series. It only lasted like how many? It didn't even last that many issues, right? Less than 10.
Yeah, probably 7 or 8.
8 issues.
8 issues. Right.
Plus
And
like a special or two. Yeah.
And we had you came out of it, Erik Larsen, is it Angel Medina?
Yeah, some of these guys did. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob Liefeld.
Rob Liefeld, yeah. A lot of, big time guys came out of that. It's pretty amazing how, Gary kind of found all of that talent,
Well, they kind of say that Gary's the grandfather of Image Comics.
Yeah, I believe that. It's
you kind of grandfather him. So they little side thing they say. I think Rob Liefeld tagged that onto him.
No, as you say, you Savage Dragon, Vanguard, Youngblood. I mean, Ethrian, all Image kind of characters.
And he sort of got in touch with Erik the same way. Like he had, saw Graphic Fantasy,
right,
and was like, hey, this is somebody I want to have involved with the anthology thing that putting together. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. But I think with Erik's thing, his was a little bit more out there because he was somehow to find this obscure triad magazine. Maybe it was a little bit more available than I realized, but for Gary to kind of pull me from that thing, well,
So how old were you when you had your work published in Megaton?
25.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm 55 now.
And so, I think Ethrian was in pretty much six issues of Megaton, 5 or 6 of those issues. The first
Let's see,
5 or 6.
4, 1, 2, 3, and skipped for a little while. And it was
it's in number issues. Yeah, it's in number 6 where he's on the cover.
Yeah, that's an awesome cover too.
Well, thanks.
Frank, do you still have the pre-Megaton Ethrian? Do you have reproductions or any of the artwork or any of that stuff?
I have one. I lost a lot of that stuff. I have one that I gave to my friend as a Christmas card, years ago. Well, what was this, 1978 or 79? And I totally forgot about the thing. And the guy mails it to me. So, man, who drew this? And I'm looking at it, and it's a picture of me. It's a picture of me with, holding on my pen out, and Ethrian's jumping out of all this ink flowing out of this pen in my hand. I'm looking at this thing. I don't remember it. Then it started coming to me. Oh, yeah, I remember this now. It was very over-rendered. I think this is when I was in my Barry Windsor Smith, Barry Smith at the time.
Yeah.
Frank Frazetta influences back then. Bernie Wrightson. So, veins and over-rendering. And so, yeah, if I can find that thing, I'll email it to you.
Right on.
I mean, maybe I didn't send that to you, huh?
You may have, but I was just thinking we could share it with, post it on the boards or share it with, if there's any pre, not even pre-Megaton stuff. Some of the Megaton stuff I've been thinking we should post up on either the Vanguard thread or some other. Yeah, it'd be fun.
It's doable.
Yeah. So 20 years later, Ethrian comes back to Image Comics on the Vanguard one-shot,
right?
The Ethereal Warriors. How did that come to be?
Erik was doing backups in Dragon, Vanguard stories, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened, right? Early on, what was this, 93 or 4 or something?
1990. Right, and Vanguard had a 6-issue run.
Right. Yeah, 6 issues, but before that, there were, what was it? Well, no, it was okay. It was backups in Vanguard, not in Dragon. So, what was I doing? Let me think about it. Okay, I was, I think I was going to be doing a backup of Ethrian in Vanguard.
Mm-hmm.
And I did all this, these, they were 6-page stories, kind of like the Vanguard stuff in back in Dragon now.
I'm sorry, are we talking about Vanguard Strange Visitors, that particular series, or even before that?
No.
The color comics.
Oh.
Before that.
Even before that.
The original Vanguard series.
Right.
Yeah, there was a Berserker backup, wasn't there?
But, yeah, it was going to be in the backup of the first volume of Vanguard, with all the different artists like Rick Leonardi and Angel Medina and Tom Coker and Jason Pearson and them guys. And this was going to be a backup. This Ethrian story was going to be a backup in Vanguard, and then Ethrian would have been working his way into the Vanguard story, which is how we get Ethereal Warriors now. because all that stuff got shelved to the side out of the Ethrian stories, and then we decided to do the one shot into the black and white comic. We now have the Ethereal Warriors. But like I said, that was a book that was done over from like 1993 to the finished product of around year 2000. Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that got put aside because Vanguard got canceled and also like Turtle stuff started happening?
Turtle stuff didn't start happening until 96.
Okay.
But the Ethrian stuff in the back of Vanguard was around 93. And I don't really recall the reason why we shelved it and put it to the side.
Yeah, maybe just because it was canceled. It was like, okay.
Yeah, it ran its course, and the Ethrian stuff got shelved. And then Gary and I were talking about just finishing up the stories in one shot. And then we thought it was going to be printed in color, but Erik decided to go with black and white just for cost reasons.
That wouldn't be a bad thing if the Vanguard backups ever get reprinted to get that in there as well in color. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Adam, Dave.
Yeah, if we can make that happen, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it would have to be relettered too. I mean, that lettering's all over the place. But
on the Ethereal Warriors.
Yeah. You were talking about that, right, Adam?
Yeah, like it was half lettered by Chris Eliopoulos, and those pages are all fine. And then some of it was lettered by Gary himself, and those are actually
exactly those Chris Eliopoulos pages.
Yeah,
were the backup stories of Vanguard, Vanguard.
I see. And then you added stuff to it.
All that stuff in between is added.
The
spot where the research place with the satellite, where Sakura pops into the laboratory or into the wherever those guys are on their radar and all that stuff. That was early stuff. That was inked by Bill Anderson, and the Jim Sinclair stuff, or Ethrian slamming Sakura into the wall. It was around that stuff was drawn around 1993, and then all the other stuff's like year 2000.
Yeah, like if it was to be recolored, then we could easily like just go in and at least make the lettering like consistent.
Right.
You know,
that would be cool in color.
So, it would be.
And then since we're talking about Ethrian, I know the Turtles came after that series or around that series, but I just wanted to talk too about the Ethrian backup that was in Savage Dragon, and off the top of my head, I think it was like Savage Dragon 145 to 159.
Started off with Back in Blue.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty recent. And you guys pretty much revisited the Ethereal Warriors one shot and kind of built back on that. And how did that? I mean, how did you guys decide it was time to revisit Ethrian again?
Yeah, needed a job. No, Erik was kind enough to let me showcase my stuff. As far as because I was kind of like not doing anything for a while, and Erik just gave me a place to showcase my stuff and do a backup in Dragon, and he likes what I do, so he gave me a chance to do Ethrian again. And what we were originally going to do, we were going to do like a 4-issue miniseries of Ethrian, but Erik thought, after, that's by the continuity of each 6-page story, it's kind of like, okay, that broke off in a weird spot, and then that breaks off in a weird. It's because it was originally drawn as a 24-page comic book,
right? And
then we broke it off into 6-page increments.
You planned it as a 24-page comic, and you broke it up into 6-page chunks. Did you go back and you change it to work in the 6-page format, or did it ultimately?
We ultimately, as we went along, actually, we did the first 48 pages were done as 2 comic books, and we were going to do like this miniseries. But Erik reasoned that we probably should do it in the back of Savage Dragon, just so you get higher visibility, because if we were going to print it in its own book, hey, we can print it in its own book, but it has to be in black and white.
Right.
I was like, I'd rather get more visibility in back of Savage Dragon and have it in color. We already did the black and white thing. I don't want to do Ethrian in black and white again. So that's why I want to look back at Savage Dragon. some of the stuff that's like inserts in the comic, like in issue 150 where Ethrian's flying towards you.
It was going to be a cover or something.
That was going to be a cover to issue number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then the close-up of Ethrian's face. I don't know if that was ever printed. I got the reflection of the Apache helicopters in his lens. And,
yeah, I don't think that was printed anymore, but it's cool. We should post that.
That was a cover. Chuk standing on top of the cliff or this plateau with the powerhouse behind him, doing his hologram screens in front of him. That was a cover. We need to get this stuff up on the board so people can see it.
Yeah, if you got anything, we'll definitely share it.
So I had like 3 or 4 covers done. Some of them were back covers too. Ethrian with the Apache helicopters approaching him. He has his back towards the reader. Kind of a top close-up shot of him standing on top of Powerhouse.
Right.
That was a back cover, which we inserted as a page into the story.
So you said you did the first 48 pages planned as 2 comics. So when you got at the end of that, you realized you were going to be doing it as a backup. Did you start formatting it better for the 6-page increments?
Yeah, and even the way it was, the 6-page increments worked out okay. Wasn't that jarring?
Yep.
But to read it as a whole, I guess is better.
Yeah. I personally enjoy short form story like that, whereas with smaller increments, especially when they're planned, because when you take a complete story and you just break it up without any regard to where the act breaks are, I lost my train of thought. I just find it more satisfying when a story is planned in whatever incremental format it's going to have.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. The first time when I was reading Savage Dragon Monthly and Ethrian came in, I didn't immediately find it interesting, and I sort of didn't read the whole thing. But a year and a half about a year and a half ago, I was doing a reread of Savage Dragon from 101 to current, and I made sure to read the whole thing, and it was actually really, really good. And I regret missing it the first time.
Oh.
I remember I had the first couple when the first couple chapters came out. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this Ethrian guy from the Vanguard thing a while ago. But that was like, I don't know, almost 10 years in between. And
I had never read that.
I was like, there was so much that I didn't remember. And so after the first couple chapters, I was like, okay, I gotta go back and read Ethereal Warriors. And when I did, then I got kind of a lot more out of it. And
yeah, definitely.
And just because you were saying, like you were saying, you were building on that that story.
Right. I originally wanted to start off the Ethrian story as before we were gonna put them in the comic books, like the 48 pages I said that we did. That was 2 comic books worth of stuff. Then we decided to use it as a backup. But I was going to do a prelude of a backup in Savage Dragon leading to the Ethrian stuff. And I was going to treat the Chuk and the Powerhouse was going to be all dilapidated and not looking like kind of unrecognizable. And only the 5 people who read the comic will know what's going on here. But I was going to try to treat it like an Atlas comic book, like the old Marvel monster books.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then work our way into, wait a minute, what this is an Ethrian story. And then, we kind of started off like that. And it didn't quite go the way I was thinking, so. But a little miscommunication between Gary and I.
Ethrian's a weird character when you read him. I mean, he's not as much a superhero as like a sci-fi story. And he comes off as, he's not even really a hero, but he's not a villain. He's just there to kind of protect the powerhouse source by whatever means necessary. Yeah. And it's kind of hard to I mean, he's kind of like got that Thor thing going, like the Donald Blake Thor thing where, one guy transforms into him and he turns into a whole different person. And he's kind of ruthless about it. And even when you read the newest serial that you did, they take out all sorts of army guys and they turn into, wraiths that, protect the powerhouse. But he's not really a superhero in any way. And a lot of times when you see him in all the kind of Savage Dragon tie-ins, he's kind of portrayed as the villain, even in that serial. Mm-hmm. I just think it's kind of a cool, different take on a character. He's not necessarily a superhero,
Right. Anti-hero. Yeah. Hey,
I suppose he's a god, isn't he? Essentially, so he's kind of above being a hero or villain.
right. He's like the guardian of powerhouse of a world that he no longer belongs to. He was supposed to be on his planet Ethra, which is the word Earth, kind of with the word letters kind of switched around. But and now he's kind of find himself stuck on this planet Earth, and the powerhouse taking the core energies of the Earth and channeling them through this warrior. And what he's about, why he's here, I don't know. Still need to figure that one out.
Are there going to be any, or have you got any plans to try and like link what's going on now with like the old continuity that appeared in Megaton? Because like that left off on basically a cliffhanger.
Yeah, the refer to Megaton stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to tell that story again. You know, when I did the Ethrian, I never meant for them to be all these different people hosting the Ethrian persona. You know, Ethrian was supposed to be a guy all by himself. Not all these like Captain Marvel or a lot of these other people being Ethrian. You know, but somehow it turned into this thing to where, you know, these different people host the eternal, the entity of Ethrian. And, you know, the essence bearer, you know, some kind of certain element in their body referred to as being the essence bearer is the one who can take on the Ethrian persona. Now, if you can make heads and tails out of that, then
yeah,
have at it. Like I said, the evolving thing from when I was a kid, what I thought of back then, I wish I could go back to that guy when I first created him. But now he's become this thing that's totally something else, you know, and all these same, it's like another Green Lantern or you know, a Guardian, you know. So,
right.
And I mean, yeah, as a core, you know, what's an Ethrian? I mean, that's a name, but is it the entity that's the Ethrian? Because Zakora, he's an Ethrian too, right? So,
well, it seems to be like some possibility of, I mean, because in the Ethrian serial, when the other character becomes the Ethereal warrior, he's not as, you know, he's more heroic and he's more noble than Gallion was.
Right.
And he's not the same kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to see what else you would do with that guy now that he's,
right.
or you know, or another character too.
Right. Because now we saw Gallion in the very first Vanguard backup. You know, walking around with that staff and, you know, being younger, you know, more true to his actual age than, you know, looking at that old man, or, you know, maybe it's the staff that's kind of making him younger and healing him and stronger. Because, you know, we saw the old man walk away at the end of the, you know, watches a pirate at the gorge. And
right.
You know, the younger guy in the Vanguard story. I had all kinds of ideas.
We have to convince Erik to have an issue with Malcolm versus, you know, Ethrian.
The new one.
Kind of like how he did with Prism, you know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah,
I always wanted to see Erik's take on Ethrian, but I don't know.
Has Erik ever drawn Ethrian? I think like
he
maybe
in the back cover.
Yeah.
He inked the cover as well, didn't he, for Ethereal Warrior?
He inked. Yeah.
Colored his shoulders wrong, but you know, not Ethrian. It looks like he's got like metal plates on his shoulders or something.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be skin, huh?
Yeah. But you know, the texture on there, the way it's kind of rendered, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like rough metal or something, you know.
Right. So, do you guys want to talk about some of the Ninja Turtle comics, or do you guys have questions on that?
I've not read Volume 3 of Turtles yet. I've been trying to track down the issues, but it's been a
they all die.
Chore.
Everybody dies.
Some advanced they did. Man, what'd you do to Donatello?
Yeah.
Turn into Cyber Don, you know. We turn into a cyborg.
That's sort of the impression I got in the mid-'90s, that a lot of people weren't taken with the changes that you made to the Turtles I have no opinion because I didn't read it. I did think it was a little weird. Although Raph and the Shredder mask. He was wearing the Casey Jones mask, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That was awesome. That looked good, cool visual. But again,
but then he does put on the Shredder.
Does he?
Right.
Yeah. Later on.
He virtually becomes Shredder. So
I thought that 23 issue series was awesome. You guys did more stuff with the Turtles than 20 years of continuity of Turtles. I thought it was balls to the wall. How are they gonna get out of this jam this time? I mean, I guess a lot of people have some kind of vested interest in the Turtles or something that they get so offended if they're injured or whatever. But
I'm a big fan of the Turtles. I recently picked up the IDW hardcover collection of the original stuff, and it blew my mind with how good it was. Very, very cool stuff. But I'd also read the Peter Laird Volume 4 series, and I enjoyed that a lot. But even in that series, he did a lot. He changed the Turtles a lot in there, too. I mean, I believe Raphael became a big, giant monster, and Donatello became 2 inches tall. I mean, that's the sort of... I kind of got the... Yeah, you laugh, but he also drove a giant robot body around. That happened.
Which isn't too different from being Cyborg.
Exactly right. It's not a big difference between the Cyborg or the Bat Splinter or whatever.
Right.
I mean, these are comic books. I want to see fantastical things. I want to see crazy things go on, and I thought you guys did an awesome job with that.
Well, when we turned Donatello into that cyborg, some of these fans act like we were killing their pets or something to them. So I was like, come on, man, come on.
Well, I think there was a sort of mentality in that period where mutilating characters was kind of seen as edgy, and it might have been backlash more to that sort of convention than that specific character. But again, I'm kind of looking at it with a hindsight.
You can't tell me that, 30 issues, if it lasted down the road, they could have come up with some cure to get rid of, whatever cybernetic parts. Yeah. I'm sure it would have happened,
Yeah.
Of course. That's where we were going. We were going to show where this technology came from and what it was about. And then, Donnie would have regenerated and, DNA would have multiplied and did its thing. And, we would have had maybe this different looking shell in his body. And then when the metal dropped off or, left him somehow, he would have been genetically altered. He might have been like a foot taller than the rest of them. But
of course, when you're drawing black and white Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's useful to have ways to distinguish them in some visual style.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I did it by their posture and attitude and demeanor, and I tried to do
whenever you draw Mike, he always looks like he's a little bit more affable.
Right.
As he should, and
he was the only one that didn't get messed up though.
Yeah, so he would have good reason to be happier. Yeah. Right. No. Right. But the other thing was just it seems like something that Erik does well and Gary does well and is making you afraid for characters.
Yeah.
And I kind of it's hard for me to care about characters in comics if I'm never afraid for them. And, when you have characters like the Turtles that get in battles all the time with, these pointy weapons, like you would think that on occasion somebody would get cut and not just the foot soldiers or whatever. And so beyond just, making them more distinguishable from one another, I thought it was like, the very first issue instantly tells you as a reader, these characters are not necessarily safe. And that's a powerful thing to say. And also just with like Donatello, it's like, who better to become a cyborg? Like that's for his character perfectly. Like,
Or even like Raphael, how could he become a bigger badass? Well, let's
or more of a loner.
Got his face up.
Or let's just make him lead the Foot Clan. I thought that was ingenious. It's just I thought it was top notch.
Yeah.
How was it just drawing the Turtles? I mean, at the time, and they still are, like, one of the biggest, comic book properties that are ever created, and you got to do a whole 23-issue run.
Right. That's the one thing I'm most identified with, is doing the Turtles, You know, like I say, I did an issue of Superman, you know, and I did Steel, and I did Robin, you know. The Turtles is the one that perks up there. So, oh, you did the Turtles?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I drew the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for Image Comics. And then just to add another thing about that Donatello thing, a lot of people think we changed Donatello like that because we didn't know how to write for Donatello as regular Donatello. That's what some of the fans were saying.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't write for Donnie, so they marred him and messed him up like that. So
they did the most logical thing for his character. Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay.
No, I love pretty much all of, not every single issue is going to be a gem, but I love most of Mirage's output, and I'm a big fan of most of those creators and those runs. And even with that said, like your run with Gary they're some of my favorite Turtle comics. So
yeah.
Mine too.
I actually own a few of the pages from the issue where Vanguard appears, and I love them.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
cool to look at your line work.
Tell you what, I'm very disappointed in IDW's new series. It doesn't have the heart that the Turtles really need. It just feels like it's basically Ultimate Ninja Turtles, and I don't know. It's decompressed and it's slow, and I don't like a lot of the changes they made. But maybe it's because I'm just kind of set in my ways, like some people. But it's just not doing it for me.
Yeah.
Have you read that, Frank?
I have not. I mean, I got the first couple of issues, but I haven't really been following it.
Yeah, I have the first 5 or 6, but I've only read the first couple, so I don't really. I liked what I saw at the beginning, but it was just I haven't read enough really to know what I think yet.
But that big hardcover reprint of the original stuff was gorgeous, and I really do hope they keep doing them and they get through like even the Image run. If that gets a reprint, I will buy as many copies as I can get my hands on.
Oh.
Tell you, Jim, if you can find Volume 3 on eBay or whatever, I would look it up though. It's definitely a fun series.
Oh, Jim, I got some of the issues. I mean, I got extra copies of some of the stuff, not all of it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Was it a choice to do black and white, or was it like a cost issue, or
Cost issue.
Was it a cost? It's funny
Really?
now because
when you look at issue 1, how over rendered and detailed that is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Erik's inking, and then that's the way I drew it too. I thought, we originally thought it was gonna be in color.
Uh-huh.
And then we changed our minds. Cost wise, and
Because I kind of prefer Turtles in black and white. That feels right to me.
Yeah.
It's
But
funny
I wouldn't mind. We were talking about if it saw a reprint, if it were to be colored, if it were colored like in a Hellboy sort of way, kind of desaturated and not, over rendered color.
Yeah.
Mostly flat.
Yeah, it might be kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's funny though. You say, because of the costs and everything, and probably if you looked at how many issues those sold then compared to like what comics sell now.
Man. Back in the day where comics were canceled for dipping to numbers that anybody would kill for today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can definitely see the difference though between the first few issues where it's over rendered. It's a little tough to make out some of the action, and then as you find how to do it with the black and white. And I think with was it Andrew Pepoy on inks, or is that how you say his name? That's when it kind of to me it really fits into that black and white look. I think it really gets its kind of.
Andrew had an understated way of inking.
Mm-hmm.
It was very suited for the Turtles, and I was adapting more to the black and white style. More stark blacks and whites, balancing and stuff like that.
Yeah, as you guys go on, you really get into a groove there.
Yeah. So, now knowing that was going to be in black and white after doing the first issue, and then trying to pull back on issue 2 a little bit, but then around issue 3 and 4, I found my groove and got it more black and white legible. So,
cool.
Yep. Good old Turtles.
Adam, did you say there was a listener question about?
Yeah, I have a question from the Technodrome forums from Venom, who just wants to know how you kind of developed your version of the Turtles. Did you work through did you sketch out like different kind of stylistic versions of the Turtles before you went with something that you liked, or did you go back and forth with like Erik and Gary, or?
No, I basically just drew them. Kind of evolved from issue to issue. I mean, the mouth kind of changed shape a little bit from issue 1 to the final version that you see in a couple issues later on. The eyes were kind of goofy looking at first, I think I must have redrew some pages a few times, but I pretty much drew them the way you see them.
That's
I
cool.
think a little bit influenced by A.C. Farley, and then
Yeah.
kind of then doing my thing with them. AC made them a little more squat and sort of limb looking, but the double the fingers only had like one knuckle.
Oh yeah.
They had the 3 knuckle or the 2 knuckle. Stuff you pay attention like that. The eyes had to be far apart.
Yeah.
Were there any like editorial mandates from like Mirage when you were creating it, or no?
They left us alone.
Oh.
Just no girl turtle.
Yeah.
and no human turtle sex.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah. I mean,
I would want that.
The Mako FPL thing was getting a little, but no girl turtles, and then we do the Lurch becomes a girl turtle. That was
Did they say something about that? Were they pissed off about that, or?
No.
Okay.
I really didn't deal with the Mirage or Peter or anything. I think Gary kind of ran stuff past them, and they gave us their blessing, to let us do our thing, and they were all gun ho and happy about the stuff, and then find out after the run is done, that's not canon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate what they did, and now they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, I think there was more just a case of Peter like not wanting to feel bound by like what you guys did.
Right.
Like because he not only approved of every issue, he and Kevin supplied like plenty of the ideas. Like, past what you guys did, like I've heard the story multiple times where they were saying to Gary while you guys were doing the first issue, you guys should kill off Splinter. Start off with a bang.
Yeah.
and I think a lot more has been made out of the supposed decanonization than really needs to be.
Yeah, that was Eric's idea to turn Splinter into a bat. So.
Well, they did eventually kill Splinter. He in the volume 4 that happened in like the first year.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for 10-year-old comics.
Yeah. That's for me. Okay.
They sort of predicted it before then, though. Like there's in volume 2, they have a sort of a possible, flash forward kind of.
Yeah.
One of the things I liked about your Turtle run, apart from anything else, is just the sheer amount of guest stars of the Savage Dragon guys.
Yeah.
So there's like Horridus became like Michelangelo's girlfriend.
Right.
Raph beat the crap out of a bunch of Vicious Circle guys. I loved that.
That was really fun.
Yeah, that was fun stuff.
Mako's appearance was cool.
Yeah.
And Mako is kind of like
fun.
fits. Mako fits right in with those kind of the turtle rogue characters,
He's a mutant
Definitely,
shark.
Yeah.
Which I really didn't want Gary tipping his hand yet that was Mako until we saw it was Mako.
Hmm.
You in the cage there, Mako. Hold off.
Yeah.
You don't have to tip our hand yet.
Yeah, it was like, didn't he bite someone's hand off or something? And like you
Spits
you
it
don't
out
know
back.
who it is.
Metal. You cyborgs. You make me sick. But
So
yeah.
how do you and Gary work? I mean, do you kind of do like the kind of Kirby Lee thing, or is it more like you have a tight script to work off of, or?
Oh, we talk about it. We bounce around ideas, but he gives me a script, and it's like just like one line explanation of what he's looking for, and then I do the camera angles or determine how to do the picture, and I have my input in there and do my little nuances and my way of storytelling, and then but we talk about before he starts scripting this stuff, and then he gives me a script. So it's sometimes I'll add a panel or I'll combine panels to try and tell the story.
Right.
And then after you're done, he scripts the dialogue.
Exactly.
He rewrites the
Right.
the dialogue isn't final before your pages are done.
He gives me dialogue in the script in the script, but then so I know who's who and what, how to place who in the panel, left to right, and then he'll add more dialogue or tweak his dialogue or do some editing. But yeah, that's how we work together. We've been like that for years. We did everything.
Cool.
So I got a lot of say and input. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
But,
and then so some of your Savage Dragon backups. I think my favorite is it from 119, the one where it's Zeke versus Rock.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was some of your best work. I love that issue. I love that backup. I think it's my favorite Savage Dragon backup. The story is awesome. The images are great, and it's kind of like a Hulk versus Thing type deal.
Yeah, there's some tribute pieces, homages in there.
Yeah. And
when Titans clash.
About that particular backup, I really like how the coloring, the art suddenly transitions from like your current clean looking style to like this old fashioned,
right?
60s.
Doing that off register.
Yeah. I thought that was a really cool effect.
Yeah, that was his precursor to next issue project.
Was it?
Yeah, it's kind of then you see that kind of stuff in next issue. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Making it look like the plates are off and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Off register, right.
That's great.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, and I think I just like your artwork is just suited for those kind of characters. I like your take on Zeke and Rock, and the story was just I don't know if it was like 6 pages or something, but it was just pretty cool.
I might have been 8 pages that story.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was, and Zeke is just like the late 70s Hulk that I enjoy. I wish Marvel would go back to that type of Hulk, but
Yeah,
I guess you gotta live through it vicariously with Zeke.
Yeah, well, Eric's got a few homage characters like that, so it's good stuff. Yeah, it was fun to do.
And I guess that kind of was Eric so impressed with that led to the Rock House Diner. Was that another thing that was supposed to be like a one shot that was turned into a backup? How did that work out?
That's exactly what that was. That was supposed to be. That might have been supposed to be 2 issues.
It's like 48 pages, right?
Yeah, 2 issue shot story, and then it wound up being back of Savage Dragon just to get the visibility and so that's how that one came to be. But Eric basically likes what I do, and I appreciate him giving me a place to showcase my stuff because I have no other avenues, and not that I'm looking for any other avenues. I don't care for doing anything for Marvel or DC. That doesn't matter.
Right.
I get to play with Eric, Eric's toys for a while and mess around and having a blast with this Vanguard thing too. So
that's cool.
Which will come to an end. That'll be like a 10 issue run.
So is there 3 chapters left of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm working on number 8 right now, and
talking about like the new Vanguard serial, I immensely enjoy your split the covers that you do, and I know we've talked about in the forums how each one seems to be better than the other. It's a shame that you seem to be doing a lot of this like your ethereal Ethrian serial and like the Rock House Diner, and you don't get to like make covers because there's just not you don't really have, besides your Turtles covers, I don't really see much on any of your covers, and the Vanguard covers are just outstanding. Honestly, every issue seems to outdo the other.
That's what you guys say. I appreciate it though. I kind of like the one with the reeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ship explode, like the hole in the ship.
Yeah, the hull busted open and grabbing Cassie there.
Yeah. I mean, I just, the staff infection one is cool. It's just a lot of energy coming through. That's issue 172 of Dragon. Even 174.
I come up with all those taglines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, you talk about what do I contribute as far as story-wise. I come up with the taglines.
Taglines are a bit of a lost art, so I'm glad they're alive and well somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a fun little thing, though. And, it at first being a flip book and, people getting confused and, the store's shelving it wrong and stuff like that. And,
But were they really shelving it wrong, or were they shelving it right? I missed the flip book.
That might be.
I love the fact that there was a flip book. The fact when they changed it to not be a flip book, I was very disappointed. But I guess I understand why.
Yeah. No, I fought a little bit to try and keep it as a flip book because I totally agree. But like while we were having this kind of ongoing conversation between all of us, I was like, okay, what if we make it really obvious that it's Savage Dragon? We put the Savage Dragon logo on the cover and then put the Vanguard logo like under it. And it's like the Savage Dragon logo is so tall, it's going to take up the entire thing to try and do both, even if the Vanguard logo is smaller. And then like that week was when 174 came out, and not only was I seeing it racked wrong at the
barcode
shop, but the barcode was wrong, and it was like bagged and with a board, and so you couldn't see that the other side was Dragon, and it was like, oh shit,
yeah.
Let's just.
Yeah, I actually when they were doing Twisted Savage Dragon funnies, I was doing mail order, getting my comics once a month, which was annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But they were always shipping them with Twisted Funnies face up, always. So I can only imagine how they were racking them at the shop.
Right? Yeah. I saw a lot of that just at various stores for Vanguard and Twisted Funnies. Like I saw a lot of them.
Of course, the barcodes were on the back. Maybe that's why they were doing it. Maybe they saw the barcodes and figured it was the front.
Yeah, but the barcode's always on the back. Then what's the confusion about?
I did like them though, because it had the issue number on it and everything. It just looked cool, like a real, like the real
Vanguard number 173.
Holy shit!
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of issues I got to get back. I got to hump down.
That's right.
And I mean the recent Vanguard serials, they are pretty cool. I mean, are they a challenge to try to fit a whole story? Because it seems like up until recently, most of the stories are kind of like one and done. They still kind of connected, but you had your protagonists that were taken out. The story was finished. It linked to the next one, but it was a complete story,
Right.
And it was they're pretty ingenious. Like the staph infection one against the Ethrian guy. I can't remember his name right now. Yeah. And then the modem issue and the issue against was the Universo issue. They all kind of had a beginning, middle, and end within, was it 6 pages?
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
6. A couple of them are 7, but yeah, pretty much 6.
I think one was 7 so far. Yeah. But,
Is it tough to to draw something like a small 6 or 7 pager and get everything?
You know what? It's like the first backup was like, I count my panels. It was like 40 something panels or whatever, which is 40 something panels in the back. In the Vanguard story was like, within 6 pages, Erik had like 40 something panels within 12 or 13 pages.
Right.
Yeah.
It's dense. You have a lot to do in 6 pages.
Yeah. So you kind of condense, you compress this whole thing into, all these, but it still flowed and didn't really feel like speed bumps or, from what I could see. And it still read pretty good to me. But as the issues went on, we seemed to open up a little bit more like the Universal one. You got that 2-page spread in there.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Thank you. And then, a couple panels on that page. So that was like, what, maybe 20-something panels in a 6-page story?
Yeah.
Was that the one that was 6 pages or 7 pages? Oh, I don't know. But anyway.
I think the one for 174 was the one that's 7 pages.
Okay, right. The home.
Yeah.
The home one, right. But yeah, it was not really, because Gary writes a pretty complete, little 6-page script, and we're able to work with what he gives me. So
Right.
It reads good, and it's reading pretty good to you, isn't it, Adam? As far as you're lettering it and stuff like that. And
I have no idea what's going on.
Okay.
No, it's
he just puts the words in there.
The page
thing.
What was it, page 2 or whatever that Dave finished the other day, and it was like there's so many guys on this one page. It takes a good draftsman to pull off that storytelling when you have like 50, because you got you guys know at the end of the last chapter the Tyrus Combine is like there on the ship, and it's like, oh, there's a whole bunch of guys. So in a big fight scene, this isn't really spoiling anything because everybody knows this is going to happen, but there's 7 or 8 panels on the page, and each panel has like 12 guys in it. It's like, oh my gosh, Frank, you somehow made it like readable.
Well, thanks.
Mm.
So do you make
these kind of things,
And for those listening that don't know, Adam does the letters for the Vanguard serial.
Yes, with the coloring and does the lettering. Yes.
Do you make Adam write in the Rockhouse Diner menu to punish him, or do you do that?
No, he did that. You said something about that in an email like last year or whenever when we were starting, and you were like, "You going to do that?" And I was like,
Hey Jim, do we have a listener question from the boards about what was that question?
The question is, Frank, Jason Gibson asks, what's your favorite character in the Savage Dragon universe that isn't Vanguard or Dragon?
Or Ethrian.
As far as creators and as opposed to the fan that likes certain characters in the set, I don't know how I can't think of a favorite Savage Dragon character besides Dragon.
Yeah.
What about Rock? He seems to feature in a lot of your stories.
Yeah, I like Rock, but
like
Rock
Rory,
is kind of like drawing a squished head version of a turtle.
Sure,
like he's his head in a pencil sharpener, and hey, we got Rock.
Is there a guy that you haven't drawn that you'd like to take a crack at?
Of Eric's characters?
Yeah. Or any character, I guess.
Oh, I would love to do the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Well, you got a little taste of it, right? When you did the World's Greatest Comics magazine.
Yeah, that was fun for what it was, but I like to do my own thing with them, and it kind of like a throwback to the Kirby Lee,
Yeah.
that kind of thing I would like to do, and not so much the Ultimate or whatever they're doing nowadays, or just super realistic photo artistic stuff that's going on now.
Yeah, it's crap.
I find that stuff. If I want to see something photorealistic, I go see a movie.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
But
Totally.
But there's a place for it too, though. I'm not gonna totally slam it. I mean, there's a place for it, but
I'll slander it for you.
Yeah.
I was just kidding.
I like more of the impressionistic type styles that people come up with.
Mm-hmm.
The cartoonier styles. I mean, there's a reason why it's called cartooning. It's shorthand drawing.
Yeah. Right.
And
who are some of your favorite artists that are working now?
Guys, I'll be honest with you. I don't really follow comics anymore.
Oh.
Right. Yeah.
I don't buy comic books. I just kind of do my thing. I do stuff with Erik. I'll buy the old Marvel Masterworks.
Right. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Kind of do my own thing. I can't think of a new comic. I guess I bought the Turtle stuff, and then I bought that one Olmec book. Let's see what
the one that just came out.
The one that just got canceled.
First issue. Yeah, the first issue I bought.
That's not bad. It had a real Kirby vibe to it. It's,
yeah.
Keith Giffen.
Keith Giffen is the man.
Yeah. If you say so.
I haven't read Olmec.
It's good. It's kind of a quirky type take on Kirby,
Yeah. But at least it's, kind of going back to that, and it's not someone trying to.
It's pretty cool for what it. Yeah.
You don't see enough of that, days,
But as far as wanting to do other characters, like I said, the Fantastic Four, maybe like a Thor, the Kirby type characters. But then, it's like I'm got this avenue of doing stuff, through Erik's book, or now we're doing this graphic novel, Solaria, and I got these avenues where I can showcase my stuff and do something new instead of do we need another Spider-Man story? Do we need another Fantastic Four story? Do we need another Thor story?
Yeah.
And
So
they've been done.
Can you talk a little more about this new project and give us some? I mean, we've seen kind of, I think, just the advertisement in Savage Dragon. Was there an ad in that, or did I just see it on the boards on forum?
Yeah, no, it's in the latest issue.
Yeah, it's in the inside back cover of the latest issue too.
So give us the scoop.
It's Solaria graphic, Solaria 80,000 AD, 800 centuries from now. Just throwing out there. 80,000, man, that's a good number. But it's a sci-fi, Pirates of the Caribbean meets Star Wars type thing, and probably see print in about 2014. Right, we're going. No, just kidding. But that'll be the thing I'll be focusing and working on when I get done with the Vanguard stuff and trying to get that.
Now, are you just doing the art, or you have a hand in writing it, or?
Andrew Modine is the writer. The guy, big Turtle fan, and we kind of hooked up through, because of the Turtles and stuff like that. And he wanted to do this graphic novel, and we shopped it around. We got Arcania that interested in it, and Adam and David are involved in it, so letterer and colorist and stuff like that. And
nice. How many pages are we?
Yeah, as you know, Adam does all the heavy work because he's got that forklift over there. So
it's gonna be 150 pages, right, Frank?
Yes, 150-page graphic novel. It was gonna be 132, but we stretched it out to give it some room to breathe. So
tell you what, I like two things: science fiction and original graphic novels. So, bam, two together.
All right, Jim. I'll send you you and Craig and Gavin. Gavin, have you seen this? Did I show you this?
I've seen it a little bit, yeah. A little while ago.
Some pages, right?
Preview pages, yeah.
I'll give you guys a preview.
Cool. Yeah.
Let you have a gander at it,
Yeah. I mean, and we have our little the dragonfan.net website too. If you wanna, whatever you want to do with promoting it, we'll be happy to post some stuff to promote it too if you want.
Sure, Andrew would appreciate that too. As far as Arcania, they might have something to say about that because they might want to.
Yeah, I mean, I won't do anything without anyone saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just for private viewing of it.
Cool.
No big deal. So, but
but I'm sure we'll be doing promo stuff like throughout the year, like as like official promo stuff as things progress. Maybe some more ads in places, and the guy who's the editor. Well, you've been in touch with him more than I have, Frank, actually, but Mark Polton, who's also writing Evangeline at Image, and Gavin, you've been talking to him a lot too. So
yeah,
I'm sure we'll, be. He's a really cool guy, and I'm sure we'll be talking to him about it a little bit and that kind of thing. So
yeah. So that's one project, and the other one's in the fire too. So
is this something you could talk about, or is it a hush hush?
Oh, what? The other projects?
Yeah.
Some we're still shopping around. I think I gotta not say anything right now about one. There's a little. Yeah. Just think of alien. Just think of alien cavemen.
Sweet.
And that's about all I can say.
Okay.
So I think that about wraps up our interview with Frank. He's going to be back to join us for our review of the Vanguard chapter in the latest issue. But for this next segment, we're just going to proceed forward with four of us doing our review of Savage Dragon 178.
So we open up. We got Malcolm fighting. Was he named?
Headcase.
Headcase.
Yeah.
He's got 2 heads, 4 arms, and now no nuts. Tell you what, Erik Larsen is in rare form with his crazy character designs on Headcase.
He's into like multiple heads, multiple appendage phase the past couple of years. It seems like.
Yeah.
That's right. What happened? What was their name? Double Page.
Double Page.
Double Page.
That's such a good name.
So Malcolm beats the crap out of this villain within 2 pages, and his girlfriend Tiara kind of catches him in the act doing it, and she's got some bad news for him.
Kind of weird how she just kind of walks up all casual after he just knocked over like part of the city, fighting this guy in the street.
Yeah, but you don't know what the situation was. Maybe he was walking with her and he saw, saw the crime in progress, and who knows what happened.
Yeah.
I do like how Erik has it snowing in the background and kind of gives you a feel for the change of the seasons in the book.
I like the coloring, the kind of the blue tones.
Yeah, the texture in the back, the color texture for the snow is beautiful.
Right. And isn't that the splash page at, going a page or 2 ahead is Tiara walking away? That's reference from another issue, right?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, with Marcy.
Yeah.
What issue was that?
65.
Oh, all right.
That's why we have Gavin. Oh my goodness.
It was also kind of a throwback to Megaton as well, I think. Or Graphic Fantasy, maybe. That's where it was originally done.
Yeah, except in that scene,
she accepted him.
Exactly, instead of leaving. Yeah.
And we see the little wise guys on the, coming up, and they're kind of working on establishing that PJ might not age like the rest of the little wise guys because he's a blood brother. And they split a hot dog. How do you split a hot dog without a knife?
Yeah.
Pinch it in half.
Messily.
Of course, it looks like it's like got everything on it too. So yeah, that's a bit messy.
It could be just one of those weird Chicago style hot dogs where they put like salad in it and all that crap.
What, is that a thing?
You never seen a Chicago style hot dog?
No.
It doesn't look too good to me. It's got like lettuce, tomato, and like, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, Adam?
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of looking at
weird.
this hot dog. It looks like it's got lettuce peeking out of it, so you could be right.
Yeah, just, when you get off this Google, like, Chicago hot dog, it's, I don't know. They just do bad things to hot dogs.
They also make reference here to building the Rock House Diner, which we were talking about with Frank. So it's being made yet again.
Oh, and that they're like sitting there watching it being built, right?
Yeah.
That's
so I guess
cool.
there'll be a new version of that at some point.
What, did it get knocked down again? Because we saw it in the Vanguard backup first issue.
174, it got trashed again.
Did it?
When the Absorbanoids came.
Oh, that's right.
That was just Erik because he didn't want to draw that thing again.
Yeah.
My bad. He's like, all
I
right,
don't want to draw the menus.
the next time we see the Rock House Diner, it's going to be shaped like a box.
On wheels.
No windows.
Yeah.
How many times has that thing been trashed, though, really?
At least twice. Maybe 3 times.
Oh, it feels like more than that, but anyway.
On the next page, we get Dragon and Malcolm and Angel are at home having dinner with Frank Jr. and his mom. And what I get, here's another superhero name drop moment where Malcolm's talking about Gwen Stacy and Elektra and how being a superhero's girlfriend is a bad idea because you get thrown off bridges and rammed through your midsection, stuffed in refrigerators.
Yep. Bad for your health.
Bad for your health. Yeah, and then Dragon has another run-in with what's his name? Spoons?
Weatherspoon, yeah, Spoon.
Adrian Witherspoon.
Adrian Witherspoon. Apparently he hasn't learned much from his last experience. He's still trying to get under Malcolm's skin with his breakup. Malcolm tries to play it cool, but he's dying on the inside.
I don't know. I don't really feel like he is, honestly, though.
Really?
He really doesn't, he's just more annoyed by Spoon than anything.
Well, he's just taken after his dad, really, isn't he? In that Dragon used to just ignore Niceman or how he said Howard, basically.
Yeah.
Just used to shrug it off, and that's kind of what Malcolm's doing.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of patience for this kind of stuff, like his dad.
And then you get kind of Maxine, the Asian girl, kind of, it's that classic kind of nerdy girl hitting on the nerdy-ish kind of guy, but he's not really a nerd, I guess. But circumstances change, and now the hot girls like him, so he kind of disses the nerd girl.
And now he's clueless.
Yeah.
He kind of walks away with 3 arms around on his, three girls on his arms.
Basically, Malcolm's not seeing what's right in front of him. He's kind of getting distracted by
kind of like with Ann Stevens and his dad.
Yeah.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of Ann Stevens.
Speaking of Ann Stevens, we see her and her husband, Larry Bradford. Yes. I find this scene interesting because Larry is starting to sound like he's obsessing about the little wise guy's immortal blood thing. You think about people in real life. If something like that suddenly falls in front of you, you might start to think certain thoughts, and I think that's kind of an interesting direction that Larry could be taken in.
Well, you've seen the last few appearances of his hair's got grayer.
Right.
So he's obviously visibly aging, so I guess he's starting to worry about it a bit.
Right.
And then, here you go, here's a potential gift of immortality.
Then we get another nice, quiet, personal scene between Frank Jr. and Angel, and they're talking about their future, and Frank wants to go on a European, not vacation, but sightseeing trip before he heads off to college, and trying to convince Angel to go with him. And that could lead to some interesting things if that actually happens. Have an Angel go off to Europe.
On this page, you see the Tyranian ship in the background, but in that third panel, you see kind of is it a homeless person, or is or is that a dead person that's kind of foreboding what's to come? Did a Tyranian get through there first?
I think it's just a generic Chicago homeless person in the snow. Or it's a bag of trash. I mean, could be anything.
Yeah, I think it's just a homeless guy at the moment. I don't think they've started their attacks or anything.
Yeah, I think that's what the ship in the sky means, is that they're here.
Yeah, they're coming.
And now they arrive with a bang. They're Angel and Malcolm are at school, and the Tyranium comes crashing through the ceiling in a big splash page. Starts beating
which is really cool.
It is really cool.
I love those Tyranians.
Yeah, they are.
I think they're brilliant.
Do you think that they're kind of landing all over Chicago now, or do you think that one specifically kind of zeroed in on Malcolm?
I think they're just everywhere now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's worldwide. I think that's kind of the impression it's supposed to be giving. And although why this one particular one happens to land on their school, you got to wonder if there's something behind that, or if it just.
I think there's just that many of them. They're attacking everywhere.
They're attacking everywhere.
Yeah.
Then we get a very, very gratuitous panty shot. And Malcolm gets the shit kicked out of him for a little while.
I do love when Erik draws a character getting knocked back, and you just see him sliding on his back with his feet up in there.
Yep.
On that the top of one of those pages. I don't know which page it is,
next
but
one.
just see kind of Malcolm sliding. It's a neat looking kind of image. It just gives you that, he just got the crap smacked out of him.
Yeah. And then Spoons is there, heckling him.
Talking trash to the Tyranian.
Just gets ripped in
Yeah,
half, and I did not see that
you
coming.
didn't?
No.
No.
I thought it was going to be around for a while.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in a way. Like, I thought it was cool, but I thought, I'd like to see kind of Malcolm's cast growing, and I'd like to see more protagonists and stuff like that. And I thought that, there was a lot of avenues Spoon could go down. And it seems like there was a lot invested in his character, even though he's kind of like a one and done type character. I thought, Erik could have built on that, because even like characters like Johnny Redbeard was kind of like a joke character that became a big kind of villain. So I thought Erik could have done that with Spoon, and it it just almost seemed like kind of a waste. It did prove a point and was kind of like a shocker and was cool, but I would like to see some of Malcolm's some of the characters new from the Malcolm era grow.
I do think it kind of reinforces the idea that people close to Malcolm can get seriously hurt. Which,
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Thierry was right in backing off.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And also, Craig, just going off of what you were saying, like I liked what was the kind of developing with Adrian, and I was interested to see where it was going to go. But at the same time, that having that development in there is what makes his death surprising, because he thought that he was going to, that something else was going to happen with his character, and you were like, oh, I wonder like how this is going to turn out. Are they going to come? Is he going to come to blows with Malcolm again? Like, is he going to be stupid enough to try that again, or is this all just like bravado?
Villain or something.
Right. And
I'm going to get powers and then come back or whatever.
And we've talked before about how like probably one of the best strengths Erik has as a writer is his just misdirection and leading you down one path, and then you turn the page and I guess Spoon is done.
It does mean a lot more than just some like random teacher getting severed in half or something like that.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. But I would like to see Malcolm's cast kind of grow too.
Absolutely.
It looks like Malcolm gets injured pretty badly in this fight. I don't know how bad, but it looks like a big chunk of his stomach is kind of.
We were talking last episode that we wonder how much damage Malcolm can take, and how he doesn't seem to get bloodied up as often as his dad did. Here's a good shot of him getting punched in the face and part of his torso cut open, blood spurting everywhere. They throw down Angel and him. They tag team. Well, yeah, and they finally choke him out and take him down and break his neck. And it took him most of an issue just to beat one of them, and now the sky's full of them.
Right. Well, and these things seem like they're pretty powerful beasts. I mean, it took Malcolm and Angel together to like barely defeat him. And even just looking at that panel, like the way it jumps like 50 feet up into the air or whatever. So they have some kind of like crazy kind of strength.
Yeah, and I think the thing is like if it was this hard for Malcolm and Angel together, as powerful as they are, to stop one of them, and like look, Malcolm is not exactly in one piece after it's done, and to have
it's just begun.
It's just begun, and to have thousands more potentially show up is like, how are we possibly going to face these guys? And I mean, it's not just Malcolm and Angel. In the last panel of the last page, you can see John Day is plenty scared too.
Did Erik mention, or am I just imagining this? Did he mention on the Image Comics forums that there were going to be like other characters from other series in this arc, like fighting the aliens? He did, right?
Yeah, I think someone compared it to the Invincible War, where they all turned up, and he said there'd be some of that.
Yeah, just kind of like maybe a montage or something going. Yeah.
It almost has to be if you're gonna say there's a big invasion, because otherwise you'd be like, well, where the hell was all the other heroes?
Yeah, where was Invincible?
I'm just hoping for basically one panel of Killcat and the Kid Avenger dicking around.
Yeah. You know that's gotta come around.
Of like, there's somebody in danger and they're like, what do we do? Or something,
Definitely. So that wraps that up, and we know this ties in with the Vanguard serial. They're kind of going in real time back and forth. So
we've got the newest installment of the Vanguard backup that, of course, Mr. Frank Fosco has lovingly rendered.
You sure I lovingly did it?
No, that's not love.
Or begrudgingly did I do it? No. I did it with tender loving care. Yes. Okay.
Of course, now that the big invasion is heating up, our gang on Vanguard's satellite are trying to
stop the invasion.
Well, I think they're just trying to survive the opening moments of the invasion at this point.
There you go. Trying to survive the opening salvo.
So it opens with we see Vanguard in the grips of Tyranian warrior who's claiming to have captured his ship and to keep the spoils for himself. And we quickly find out that it's a ruse, and it's our favorite morphling, Lurch, putting on a show. Vanguard sure seems to like putting on deceptions with the morphlings.
Yeah.
Seems easy enough to do.
Lurch is always lurking.
So, a question for you, Frank, about while we're looking at this Tyranian guy. Did I think like in Ethereal Warriors or whatever, some of the older Vanguard, when they talk about the Tyrus Combine, it's like different types of aliens, and we've kind of discussed this on the podcast before. Is that still the case, or is Gary or Erik kind of shifted to make this just like the Combine, just like one type of race, like that warrior guy you see?
I think this is like the forerunners of the main assault. The Tyranians are like the scouts and the ones who go before, ahead of the other attacking, more advanced aliens. These guys are more like the grunt work, like the Marines, the
cannon
first
fodder.
wave, kind of like the first wave.
Right.
Gotcha.
What was that, Gavin?
Cannon fodder, basically.
More like the shock troops, I assume.
Yeah. The Tyranians. Speaking of, how the heck you pronounce this guy's name?
Yeah, who knows?
Warlord.
Keechanks.
Yeah.
Ask Gary.
What do you guys mash a keyboard? That's how you make alien names. Just bash your face on it.
Okay. But like I said, what we were thinking about from you're talking about from the Megaton days, right?
Yeah, maybe that was it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's all different aliens making this Tyrus Combine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I didn't know if that was
just. Yeah.
Oh, all right. I didn't know if that was thrown out the window.
But you notice the way Erik did the even this very same issue here, his version of the Tyranian, and the way Nico's colors and stuff like that. It's kind of different from what I do. So.
Yeah, just like the feet.
Are they supposed to be the same guys, or or cousins of the same species or something? Yeah.
Maybe we were talking about this a little bit with Gary, and maybe it could be that there's a subspecies that's a different rank or something, and these guys are attacking Vanguard, and then they have the more hardcore, maybe more brutal aliens are the ones landing on Earth, but they're both Tyranians.
Yeah. Make sense?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Something like that.
That's our story. We're sticking with it.
And then it moves on, and the robot tech guy wakes up and starts taking control of the satellite again. And Wally is apparently susceptible to mind control a lot. It seems to happen to him quite a bit. He's always getting controlled by modem or alien technology.
Him and Super Patriot, man.
Yeah, Super Patriot. It's a problem that they have.
Chips.
But then Modem shows up, and I got to be honest, when did she get her powers back? Because last time I checked, they were stripped out of her.
Hey, got to read between the pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't the last issue.
You know, they kind of mentioned it. You want your powers back? Help us take out these guys. And then Wally said, "Oh, never mind." When that robot head went bouncing by.
Yeah, right.
Well, obviously Wally hooked her up. So.
Yeah.
I do kind of like the fact that she's back. I kind of missed her after the whole 4 issues she was depowered.
She plays a bigger role. So.
Yeah. So they try to interrogate the cyborg. Is he a robot or a cyborg, or what is he?
The robot.
He's a robot.
Drone.
Yeah, I say he's kind of like a mix between Wally's tech and the Morphling's tech.
Yeah. Which is kind of based on what Nico's drew in the Vanguard back up in the 150.
Is that are the Tyranians kind of based on that drawing too, or did you guys?
Yeah,
kind of work
it's kind of based on that, but we kind of evolved it, and not evolved it, but did our own thing with it.
Right.
That was kind of going by what Erik did on this cover too to 178, kind of basing on that and on the Nikos' version, which I think that's what Erik was basing on Nikos, and then kind of did his thing too.
Right.
I find it interesting that the robot starts talking. Well, I guess Modem sifts through his memories, but apparently the reason why everything's been going wrong for Vanguard's people is that their technology's been turning against them because they've been treating them poorly, and I find that interesting.
Yeah, so that's the downfall of his race, and that's what's opened it up for the Tyranians to take control of the planet and wipe out the Calyptons.
Machines like Wally and Lurch apparently have betrayed them, and opened them up to attack. I find that kind of stuff interesting, where robots and their rights come in. That's why I'm a big science fiction fan. I find those sorts of little things to be fascinating when they're explored.
Yeah, especially since with Lurch specifically, this has always been an evolving story with just kind of the subplot of Roxanne always talking to Vanguard about, Lurch becoming more of an individual and how wrong it is to keep treating him as slave labor when he's becomes his own person. And then finally that's happened with Lurch, but we're seeing that the other Morphlings and robot drones, obviously back on Calyptus, there have implications that, there was obviously something huge went down with them. So.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And then we get to the Combine guys on the ship, and it's like, oh crap.
What do we do now?
Yep. We'll have to wait till the next episode. That's what we'll do.
That's what we're doing.
Space Invaders.
Were you waiting the entire series to use that name, Space Invaders?
No.
Who came up with that?
That's Gary. That's Gary's title.
That's Gary's. Well, the Gary's title. But who came up with that Space Invaders font?
I had a different one, and then I got this font. Comicraft had a sale, and I bought this specifically for this, for that title, because it was better than the one that I had.
Cool.
Yeah.
Frank, you inked yourself on this one?
I inked myself since the second installment.
Okay, the first one was Erik, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Cool. Well, thanks for going through it with us.
Okay. Thank you. Guys, thanks for having me, and this was fun.
Thanks for entertaining us and entertaining our questions.
Thanks for indulging us.
Thanks for indulging me.
Definitely appreciate you taking time out to just to talk with us. It's fun talking with you on the forum, but it's a lot more fun to talk with you in person.
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on, and this was fun. And don't know when I'll be doing this again. As far as after this 10 issues wrap up,
Oh, we're gonna have to be talking to you about the other stuff, like the Solaria and the caveman thing that you mentioned.
Alien caveman.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep us in the loop on the forums and whatever when you have new stuff coming through the pipeline. Cause,
okay. And like I said, I'll have Adam get you guys emails to me, and I'll give you a preview of the Solaria stuff.
Awesome.
Kind of give you a gander at that and see what you think.
Cool. Look forward to it.
All right, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
All right,
Frank.
man.
Nice speaking with you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
So for future episodes, we're probably going to do more. We're going to try to do more interviews. We had a lot of fun talking to Frank, and we're going to be talking to Joe Keating pretty soon here. Maybe not the next episode, but the one after that. As soon as we have a concrete date, we will post it on the boards and on Dragon Fan and on the FINcast website, which is fincast.guttertrash.net. But I'm sure we'll be talking to Joe about his new Glory series and the other books that he's got coming out. And, he worked on, he did color flats for Dragon for a time. And I know he has a lot to say about Erik and his work. And so that'll be fun. And just to drop some more names, future episodes, we'll probably also be talking to Michel Fife of Twisted Dragon Funnies fame and Zegas. And also the guy behind Vanguard, Gary Carlson, who's written, huge piles of comics that we've all read. So that'll be fun. I don't know. Again, we don't have concrete dates for these guests yet, but they're confirmed, and they should be really fun interviews. So.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, especially the Joe Keating interview, because he's just kind of really started getting stuff out there, but I'm really interested in that Glory. I liked his Pop Gun kind of collections, and I know he's a huge Dragon fan and just a huge fan of comics in general, so I'm sure he'll have a lot to say.
Yep.
Well, I look forward to talking with these people too. It's good to have people on the show talking about this sort of stuff. I mean, that's the main reason why we got this going together, is that we just to talk, have interviews.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's just fun being able to discuss Savage Dragon stuff with other Dragon fans. Getting to talk to Gavin from the other side of the pond, and, Adam on the West Coast, and Frank in Chicago, and,
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
It is.
Just getting together from different parts of the world, the country. It's good stuff.